ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिनि। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, so we want to continue reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela chapter 4. So yesterday we read this verse 33. Then by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Raja, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruitive activity. Hmm. So this is what Krishna is asking us to do in Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam shanam praja. Mm, So here also it's saying the same thing. Chadi dharma karma. Chadi and chadi means giving up dharma and karma. So here in the purport actually Prabhupada has quoted from Mukundamala Stotra, King Akula Shekara. He's saying, I have no attraction for performing religious rituals or holding any earthly kingdom. I do not care for sense enjoyments. I do not care for sense enjoyments. Let them appear and disappear in accordance with my previous deeds. So this is very, very important to understand. Let them appear and disappear accordance with my previous deeds. Meaning, we will, based on our karma phala, some point of time there'll be some facilities that might come for sense enjoyment, or um, yeah, our mind might trigger some thoughts, this, that, and all that. But Kulchekar Alwar is saying, I'm not, I don't care for them. Let them come and go. My only desire is to be fixed in devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord, even though I may continue to take birth here, life after life. So he's saying it doesn't matter whether I take birth again here or not. I just want to be fixed in devotional service. I'm not interested in religious rituals, material prosperity, sense enjoyments. I don't care for any of this. Mm. So this stage of bhakti, which is called Raga Marga, Raganuga Bhakti, um, so it's a very exalted stage where mm, a devotee has realized his constitutional position. And constitutional position means what is his actual original position in which he was serving Krishna. Because we all fell down from the spiritual world. So that constitutional position is revived, um, woken up. So devotee comes to know, oh, okay, my actual constitutional position is that I'm a devotee in Madhurya Rasa. Somebody else will think, oh, I'm a devotee in Sakya Rasa, like this. Uh, Now, when can a person reach this kind of realization? Is when he or she has given up this material, So at least liberated. They're liberated, meaning they've transcended the three modes, mukti, right? So mm, they are not affected. They Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na sochati na kankshati. Is not desiring anything, nor is he lamenting anything. Equipoised towards material things. So this is liberated state. At least one has to come to liberated state. Only then we can think about all this raganuga and all that. Mm. Till then, we just simply continue to do Vaidhi Bhakti, which is, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and all the different aspects of devotional service as we are practicing today. And that should continue, right? And the m- when this Vaidhi Bhakti is performed very rigorously, very seriously, then our contamination goes, we become purified, and then we will come to the stage of Raganuga Bhakti. So we don't have to worry about it at this point of time, but we have to know that there is something ahead of us. Yeah, generally in material life, everybody is looking forward to something. What is going to happen, next? What is the next big thing for me? In bhakti, there are endless big things. So if somebody has to get inspired, motivated by looking forward to something new, there's always something new in Krishna consciousness. It's never ending. The just like Prabhupada says, it's Krishna conscious life is adventurous because we don't know what we are going to be and what we have to experience, but endless scope for progress. We can never say that okay, I've progressed enough. Hmm. All great devotees, they keep looking at other devotees and saying they are so great. I'm so insignificant. So, so this is a very exalted, very um, we want to come in the future. So for now, our focus should be to just do bhakti, follow whatever has been given to us. Don't be too much attached to material things. Do our duty, but at the same time, make sure that our sadhana is on track, is only improving day by day. That's all we need to worry. And then finally, we'll come to this Raga Marga. But we should understand that Krishna came to show this Raga Marga because that's what attracts him. Mm. Uh, he becomes controlled uh, by such devotion, and that's what is our goal. And to show us how the devotees of Raja actually do this bhakti, Krishna comes to this material world and shows his pastime. Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to devotees. So this is the mercy. Very important. Having heard such pastimes, one should engage in service to him. That is the reason why this Shravanam is so important. Having heard the pastime. If we never hear these pastimes, we will not know what is right, what is wrong, what needs to be done, what should not be done, etc. But when we hear these pastimes, then naturally we will get attracted to some pastimes more than the other. It's natural. It's not because the person sitting next to me is attracted by this, so I also have to be attracted by this. No. Naturally, we'll get attracted by some of these pastimes. That is why Krishna book is key for us. Of course, till we come to the 10th canto, till we finish all the 9 cantos of Bhagavatam, come to 10th canto, and then after that we can repeatedly keep reading 10th canto. But even then, Krishna book is important because Prabhupada has given his commentary, which is not there in 10th canto because he did not, he decided to leave this world before finishing his commentary on the 10th canto. So, first few chapters only he's written commentary, verse to verse. But in Krishna book, the whole book which was written by him, so it's a summary of the chapter plus his own commentary yeah, intermingled. Uh, so, if we just keep reading Krishna book, then we will understand, we will start getting attracted towards one or the other rasa, and that is very very important to happen. Mm. Before that happens, we should not lock ourselves up in some kind of worship. Like I keep saying, some devotees just they want to worship Ladu Gopal. No, they don't even know whether there's, if somebody is in Vatsalya Bhav, then they have to worship Ladu Gopal. Like this. So we should not. Some devotees just get attached to Krishna Balaram. Yeah, I mean, if one has Sakya Rasa, then Krishna Balaram, like that. So we have to wait till we start getting. We shouldn't very prematurely start doing some deity worship for some specific deities. Because we don't know what is our eternal constitutional position. Uh, so if somebody absolutely wants to worship deities, then Gaurnita is safest. Because they are the anyway merciful lords of this Kali Yuga, and they're going to give us mercy so that we can come to that realization of the constitutional position earlier. Mm. And of course, worship of Radha Krishna and all very very exalted, very very strict. If you don't worship Radha Krishna as per rules, then seva aparadha, and then it can destroy our bhakti. Mm. Of course, it doesn't mean that God Nitai worship doesn't have rules, but just because they are merciful, even if we unknowingly are committing some mistakes, they'll forgive us. But that doesn't give us license to actually intentionally make mistakes in deity worship. But generally, deity worship is very strict. Generally, right? We have super standards to be followed. So Shravanam Kirtanam. So Bhagavata Vidhi is safe. Shravanam Kirtanam, no, not much rules, regulations to be followed. We can chant, read, glorify any point of time, anywhere, etc., etc. Safer. Here, the use of the word bhavet, which is in the imperative mood, tells us that this certainly must be done. Non-compliance would be abandonment of duty. What must be done? Having heard such pastimes, one must engage in service to Krishna. So if one doesn't engage in the service of Krishna, then it is non-compliance. Uh, non-compliance about would be abandonment of duty. So serving Krishna is our duty. Swadharmam apichabekshana vikampitum arhati. Swadharmam. It's our swadharma to worship Krishna, to engage in his service. If you don't do that, it is abandonment of duty. And that's the real duty of a human being. Mm, Right. So bodily dharma is just for maintenance, just to keep this body and soul together. But the real dharma is bhakti. Just as these desires are the fundamental reason for Krishna's appearance, whereas destroying the demons is only an incidental necessity. So for Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the Supreme Person of Godhead, promulgating the dharma of the age is incidental. So this Kali Yuga, Yuga Dharma, Harinama Sankirtana, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to propagate this. This is just a secondary reason. Just like Krishna is coming down, secondary reason is Dharma Samsthapanartha. But primary reason is to show this, Braja Bhakti, this Raganuga Marga to devotees. Mm. So similarly, there's a primary reason for Sri Krishna Chaitanya's appearance. When the Lord desired to appear for another reason, the time for promulgating the religion of the age also arose. Thus, with two intentions, the Lord appeared with his devotees and tasted the nectar of prema with the congregational chanting of the holy name. Thus, he spread kirtana even among the untouchables. He wove a wreath of the holy name and prema with which he garlanded the entire material world. The most fallen of fallen people can be delivered by Harinam. May not be by Shastra, by reading Shastra and all that, because they might not even come mm, do a satsang and sit and hear or read and all that. But when we go out and do Harinam, anybody and everybody, just even once Krishna's name falls into their ears, they are benefited. Mm. So he spread Kirtana. Mm. So we have to count how many times in a day, how many times in a week, how many times in a month we go out and do Sankirtan. Mm. And of course, when we do Sankirtan, there are two things. One is there are really people who don't deserve or who are mm, very fallen. For them, it's just Harinam and Prasadam. Distribute Prasadam, whatever it is. It could be 2 pieces of Khaja, anything, right? So we have to distribute Harinam and Prasadam. We have to do Harinam and distribute Prasadam. So those who are really unqualified, not qualified, they just hear, take Prasadam, they're benefited, irrespective of what their background is, what their so-called material religion is, etc., etc. Then we will also find some more advanced souls, more pious souls who are ready to take Krishna consciousness seriously. So we do book distribution. Mm. So we reach out to both these types of both these groups of people when you go out. But if you don't go out, if you're sitting only within the temple or within the center, then only the pious will come. Only the second category will come. The first category will get eliminated. Mm. The pious will anyway come. Somehow they'll come. Mm, right? But the mercy has to go out to the impious, to people who don't deserve the mercy, who are not qualified, and hence Harinam Sankirtan and book distribution. Many devotees are very shy to go out, or they feel it's too much, it's too, you know, too much to ask for. I can come to the center temple and do services, but don't ask me to go out. But the real mercy distribution happens outside only. That's the real mercy distribution. Mm. So we have to go. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us. In this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it in himself. Okay, now we come to the actual discussion of rasa. Four kinds of devotees are the receptacles of the four kinds of mellows in love of God, namely Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. So there are four kinds of rasas and four kinds of devotees. Each kind of devotee feels that his sentiment is the most excellent, and thus in that mood he tastes great happiness with Lord Krishna. So somebody in Sakhya thinks no, Sakhya is the greatest. Somebody in Madhurya thinks Madhurya is the greatest. Somebody in Dasya thinks Dasya is the greatest. Mm. And so in that mood, each of the groups of devotees, they taste great happiness with Lord Krishna. All of them have relationship with Lord Krishna and they taste great happiness. But if you compare the sentiments in an impartial mood, we find that the conjugal sentiment, Madhurya, Shringara Rasa, is superior to all others in sweetness. Mm. So now there is measure of sweetness in each rasa. So Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is saying if we impartially measure the sweetness that is there in each of the rasa, sweetness in Shringara rasa is the highest. And the word for sweetness is madhuri, madhurya, madhurya. Uh, so how so Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Rupa Goswami says increasing love is experienced in various tastes, one above another. So what is the sweetness? Increasing love. Mm. But that love which has the highest taste in the gradual succession of desire manifests itself in the form of Shringara. Highest love, mm, which has the highest taste. So one is love also increases, taste also increases. So as we move from Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, love also increases, taste of the love also increases. Mm. Therefore, I call it Madhura Rasa. Therefore, I call it Madhura Rasa. What is called Madhura Rasa? Technically, it's called Shringara Rasa. But because it's so sweet, it's the sweetest. It is called Madhura Rasa. And so we call it Madhurya Rasa. This Madhura Rasa has two further divisions. Swakiya, Parakiya. Swakiya is translated here as wedded love and Parakiya is unwedded love. Hmm. There's a great increase of mellow in the unwedded conjugal love. Hmm. So now we said all different rasas. The love is going on increasing and the sweetness also goes on increasing from Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Sringara. But because Sringara is the sweetest, the highest platform of love, so it's also called Madhurya. Now in Madhurya there is Swakiya and Parakiya. Hmm. So Swakiya is, uh, you know, the in Madhurya, Swakiya is the first one, and the topmost is Parakiya. Why? Because a great increase of rasa. Such love is found nowhere but in Vraja. So Parakiya rasa cannot be found anywhere else but in Vraja. So Krishna's pastimes can be experienced in Dwarka, Mathura, and Vraja, Vrindavan. But the Parakiya can be experienced only in Vrindavan, not anywhere else. Uh, the Dwarka is Swakiya. This mood is unbounded in the damsels of Raja, unbounded meaning limitless. This Parakiya Bhava is limitlessly found in the gopis. But among them, it finds its perfection in Sri Radha. So, just to come to Srimati Radharani 3 sessions, right? Just to come to Radharani, we've taken 3 sessions. Hmm. So, now we've understood the whole gamut of rasa and how this Swakiya, Parakiya, Parakiya is the topmost. In Parakiya, there are gopis, and then among them, it finds this Parakiya Bhava finds perfection in Sri Radha. Now, please hear these verses. Now, these are the verses which are actually describing the nature of the love of Radharani. And this is very, very important for us to form a mental picture of Sri Radharani. Because whenever we hear something, we build a mental picture. And that mental picture remains with us. And as long as we create that mental picture, which is sound and based on Shastra, we will never go wrong in our understanding. When we hear anything, suddenly that mental picture will come and say, this is not matching. What I'm hearing here is not matching with my mental picture. Then we will reject it, knowing that it's maybe wrong. It's not philosophically sound. But the mental picture has to be based on Shastra. So form this mental picture of Radharani. Her pure, mature love surpasses that of all others. So whenever, as soon as we think about Radharani, we should think about her pure, mature love which surpasses the love of all others. And like I said, love simply means bhakti, right? Pleasing Krishna, making him happy. This is love. Doing things that are favorable. Anyavilashita shunyam, jnanakarma dhanavritam, anukulena Krishnanushilanam. Doing great things that are favorable to Krishna, that Krishna likes. Uh, so she's topmost. She surpasses all others. And what is her love? Pure. Her love is pure. And the so-called love in this material world is impure because it's lust. Lust means sense gratification. Love means only for the pleasure of Krishna. No selfishness involved. Her love is the cause of Lord Krishna's tasting the sweetness of conjugal rasa. Reading this again. Her love is the cause of Lord Krishna's tasting this Madhurya Rasa. So Krishna is able to taste Madhurya Rasa because of her love only. Meaning, if it were not for Radharani, Krishna wouldn't have been able to taste Madhurya Rasa at all. So her love is so exalted that Krishna, who is all knowing, all pervasive, all powerful, etc., he couldn't have tasted Madhurya Rasa if she were not there, but for Radharani's love. It's so pure, it's so mature, it's so exalted. It's not some, affair. It's not like that. It's the purest. It's the purest. And it's the most mature. Mature because it knows actually, it knows the goal. So her love knows the goal. What is the goal? Is to please Krishna. She's very mature about it. Her love is mature. And without her, Krishna couldn't have tasted Madhurya Rasa. Therefore, Lord Gauranga, who is Sri Hari himself, accepted the sentiments of Radha and thus fulfilled his own desires. So Krishna had his own desires, which he couldn't fulfill being the Supreme Lord. He couldn't fulfill his own desires. Just imagine. Krishna, Supreme Lord, he can achieve anything. But he couldn't fulfill his own desires. To understand this love of Radharani. So there was no other way but for him to appear as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian mellows of the love of one of his multitude of loving damsels, Sri Radha. So Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian rasa. It is limitless. And it's Amrita. So he wanted to taste the love of Radharani. What is it? What is this love? And so he has assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. He has tasted that love while hiding his own dark complexion with her effulgent yellow color. To accept ecstatic love is the main reason he appeared and re-established the religious system for this age. So he is now further explaining. So this is the core verse which describes the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikrutir Hladini Shaktirasmadekatmanam Vapi Bhuvi Pura Deha Bhedam Gatau Tau Chaitanyakyam Prakatam Tadvayam Chaikyamaptam Radha Bhavadyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestation of the Lord's internal pleasure giving potency, Hladini potency. So please understand this. The loving affairs of Radha and Krishna are transcendental, which means that it's not material. And it is transcendental manifestation of his own Hladini Shakti, meaning the Shakti which gives him pleasure, which came from him, which is his internal energy. His own internal energy manifested his own internal energy, which gives him pleasure, manifested as Srimati Radharani. And so the loving affairs between Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations. It's transcendental, it's not material. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, like I said, Radha came from the left side of Krishna's body. Right? So they are one in identity. They separated themselves eternally. Now, these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. So we should understand whatever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts that are coming from him are all Radharani's. So distribute mercy to all Jiva. This is the mercy of Radharani. Give Hare Krishna Mahamantra to everybody. This is the desire of Radharani. Get every soul to become a devotee of Krishna. This is the desire of Srimati Radharani. And these are the things that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. So just by reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, we can actually enter into the depth of understanding of Srimati Radharani, because that is whatever he presented was her mood, her bhava. Radha and Krishna are one and the same, but they've assumed two bodies. They've assumed two bodies. They're one and the same. How can they assume two bodies? Krishna expands. Infinitely Krishna expands, right? From Krishna comes Balaram, from Balaram comes Chaturvyuha. Like this, from Krishna comes Radha. So Krishna has expanded himself into Radha. So both, they are actually Krishna only, but they've taken two bodies. Now, because they've taken two bodies, then one is called Krishna, the other is called Radha. And they enjoy each other, tasting mellow. Uh, and elsewhere, there's comparison saying that if a person looks at himself in the mirror and is happy looking at his own form, what is the mistake? What is the problem? And he looks at the mirror and he says, "Oh, okay, he's whatever fixing his hair or doing something with." What is the issue with that? It's his own image. It's his own reflection. Like that, Radha is not different from Krishna. So if there is any love expressed, it's just internal. It's just like me looking at my own mirror image. So and all of this is transcendental because it's Krishna and it's all pure. Mm. Srimati Radhika is the transformation of Krishna's love. So this is now we are coming to the heart of Radha Tattva. Srimati Radhika is the transformation of Krishna's love. So Krishna has something called love. That love took a form. Mm. And what is that Krishna's love? Krishna shows love towards his devotees also. Mm. Krishna loves his whole creation. Krishna, that love of Krishna took a form, which is Srimati Radharani. And what is the intent of that love? To give pleasure to Krishna. So this is pleasure giving potency. So this Shakti called Hladini, it gives pleasure to Krishna, mm, which is the transformation of Krishna's love. And it took a form called Radharani. The Hladini energy gives Krishna pleasure and nourishes his devotees. Nourishes his devotees. It gives Krishna pleasure that I've been talking about. It nourishes the devotees. So when devotees engage in devotional service selflessly, just for the pleasure of Krishna, whatever bliss they experience, whatever happiness they experience, that is Hladini Shakti. That is Radharani. Mm. But this happiness is when the devotees are trying to selflessly serve, not with the expectation of experiencing happiness or recognition or whatever. When that happiness comes naturally, that is the nourishment of Hladini. Nourishment. Devotees also have to be nourished right there so that they get inspired to do more bhakti, to commit more, to surrender more. That is Radharani. Mm. So we should understand this potency which gives Krishna pleasure is not material, it's spiritual. Krishna doesn't come in touch with anything material. Krishna doesn't engage with anything low class. Material is all low class. Mm. So Krishna and Radha's interactions are all spiritual, transcendental affairs. See, Narayana and Lakshmi will also have transcendental affairs. But Krishna is so merciful that he has actually allowed us to get access to his private life. This is his private life. How often do we see this? I mean, do great people reveal their private life? No, they don't like to reveal their private life. But Krishna is so merciful that he wants all of us to become part of his private life. What is the invitation for us? Come become part of my private life. Who will do that? And freely, without looking at qualification, anybody and everybody can come and become part of Krishna's private life. I mean, it's inconceivable mercy that Krishna is giving us. But not even an ordinary human being will do that. Even, uh, yeah, I mean, we don't know so much about Sri Sampradaya scriptures, but at least when we hear about the description that acharyas are making about Krishna's personal life, I mean, sometimes it just seems like, I mean, why is Krishna even revealing all this? Do we even need to know all these things? Can't I just be like, can't I just be a servant? Because some of these things are it's very difficult for us to understand in our impure state. That is why we can't go into the details of the rasa which is exchange between Radha and Krishna. Mm. We will go crazy if you're not properly positioned. If you're not properly situated, we will go crazy. Uh, but to be able to, at some point in our life, sometime we should become qualified to read that. We should get the adhikara to hear those pastimes. So we are trying to read this tattva. So we understand that it's very, very exalted. Radha Krishna's dealings are very, very exalted. but they're all on the transcendental platform. But because we are so fallen, we are so conditioned that when we hear about Radha Krishna's pastimes, mm, just material thoughts come to our mind. And because we have still not given up our mm, propensity to lord it over. Everything for us is an object of our sense gratification. So when we hear these pastimes, we might also very wrongly think of becoming the enjoyer, taking Krishna's position. Mm. It's very, very dangerous. That's why not to hear Leela, not to hear Radha Krishna Leela till we are really mature in Krishna consciousness. We have to become very mature in Krishna consciousness to be able to hear. We can do it privately, meaning we can just read. Mm, yeah, because Bhagavatam also says by just by reading under repeatedly hearing from the authorities, from acharyas, about Gopi and Radha's love for Krishna, our material lust will get destroyed, right? So, but we have to understand that this is very, very exalted. Mm, mm. But Radha whole existence is to just give pleasure to Krishna, whatever Krishna likes, what Krishna wants, what will make him happy. That's all, Radharani. Mm, mm, okay. Okay. The essence of the Hladini potency is love of God. Hladinira Sara Prema. Sara. The essence of Hladini, giving pleasure to Krishna, is Prema. Meaning, when one comes to the state of Krishna Prema, he can give pleasure to Krishna. The essence of love of God is emotion, bhava. Hmm. So it's not that there are no emotions in bhakti. Of course, there are emotions, but these emotions cannot be whimsical. They cannot be material. They have to be spiritual emotions. Mm, And there are rules, or there is a framework or a guidance uh, to help us understand what these emotions are. And that is the whole book of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. Mm, mm. And then when certain people exhibit emotions which are not as per the books, or they are artificially copying what is there in the books, it's called sahajiya. Somebody reads Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and says, a devotee in the topmost platform will roll on the ground. And then somebody will read this, and then to next in the associate devotee, suddenly he's rolling on the ground. He's called sahajiya. Taking things very cheaply. But the bhakti, the love that we are supposed to show to Krishna has certain guidance. There are rules and regulations. It's not like, of course, at the Raganuga stage, a devotee can, yeah, his or her love can be expressed in, there's freedom to express our love. But even Radharani's love for Krishna is analyzed. Radharani's behavior is analyzed. So which means that it's all tattva. There is tattva basing this interaction between Krishna and his devotees. So we cannot just be like do some whimsical stuff and call this Raganuga platform. Right? Spontaneous love. Spontaneous love doesn't mean that we just break rules. Spontaneous love doesn't mean that we do whatever we want. Um, Sometimes actually in bhakti, practice of bhakti, we think that, oh, I'm getting inspired to, like I will remove tilak, that Krishna is wearing a tilak, I'll remove it, I'll put something else because I'm just like inspired today to do uh, mm, something like that, right? I mean, there are certain rules, there are certain guidelines. Mm, We cannot just break those. and do whatever we want in the name of spontaneous love. And the ultimate development of emotion is called Mahabhava. Ladinira Sara Prema, Prema Sara Bhava. Bhavera Paramakashta Mahabhava. Sri Radha Thakurani is the embodiment of Mahabhava. So just I'll explain. So there is pleasure potency. The pleasure potency is experienced by in the stage of prema. In prema, there are emotions, and the topmost emotion is called Mahabhava. And Radharani is the personification of that Mahabhava, which means the topmost emotions, love that can be expressed to Krishna, which is on the Shringara platform, Madhurya platform in the Parakiya Bhava. This is Radharani. She is the repository of all good qualities. She is the repository of all good qualities. And the crushed jewel among all the lovely consorts of Lord Krishna. She is the crushed jewel. Krishna Kanta Shiromani. Sarva Guna Khani Khai. She is the embodiment, or she is the repository of all good qualities. And she is the Krishna Kanta Shiromani. She is the Shiromani among Krishna Kanta, among the lovely consorts of Krishna. Her mind, senses, and body are steeped in love for Krishna. Her mind, senses, and body are steeped in love for Krishna. She is Krishna's own energy, and she helps him in his past. Okay, I'll stop here. Okay, so today also one more PhD class. Some of these are exalted, but it's, anyway, like I said yesterday, let's keep hearing and it'll purify us. And eventually we'll be able to understand, appreciate these things as we make progress. Anyway, if there are any questions, we can try to answer. Anything? Okay, and we'll close. श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanavad pranam.
Hare Krishna.